Mowing the yard I'd maintained for free, I overheard my sister tell my mother, "He's not family anymore. He's just a sponsor," after firing me from the company I built. I walked inside and canceled every financial support system I'd put in place over 8 years of building her cybersecurity empire. The silence that followed was deafening. Sabrina had just terminated the CTO, who architected 95% of their technical infrastructure with a 2-sentence email, replacing me with our MBA cousin Talia, who couldn't explain the difference between a firewall and a database. What they didn't know was that I held minority ownership rights, maintained admin access to every critical system, and had been documenting their security violations for months. I'd spent 8 years transforming Sabrina's cybersecurity startup from a cramped Seattle apartment operation into a $6 million annual revenue company with Fortune 500 clients. While she handled sales and played CEO, I built the entire technical foundation, the penetration testing protocols, the real-time vulnerability monitoring platform, and the security architecture that protected hospital systems and financial institutions across the Pacific Northwest. The $150,000 inheritance from our grandfather that funded the first year, that came through me as co-beneficiary, though Sabrina conveniently omitted that detail from her bootstrap founder narrative. My Microsoft job offer that I declined to help launch her company, senior engineering position with $180,000 base salary plus equity. Every weekend I spent coding while she networked at conferences. Every client crisis I solved at 2 a.m. Every security patch I deployed without recognition. Now, Talia, fresh from Stanford MBA with zero cybersecurity experience, would be taking over as CTO. Her qualifications consisted of PowerPoint presentations, venture capital networking events, and a summer marketing internship secured through her sorority sister's mother. While I took public transit to client meetings, Sabrina had approved a company car for Talia's client development activities. But here's what Sabrina and Talia didn't understand about the technical infrastructure they'd just inherited. I had made myself indispensable by design, not intention. The complex authentication systems, the deployment pipelines, the security protocols I developed over 8 years of institutional knowledge. None of it could be transferred in a 2-sentence email. I immediately contacted my attorney, David Richardson, who specialized in intellectual property and minority investor rights. "The termination email actually strengthens your position," he explained during our emergency meeting. "They've created a clear timeline of retaliation after you documented security concerns. Plus, your operating agreement requires your consent for major architectural changes." Next, I reached out to Dr. Hassan, the CISO, at our largest healthcare client who had become a mentor over the years. His hospital network represented $2 million of our annual contracts. "I need you to know about some concerning security practices that have developed," I told him, preparing a comprehensive technical assessment. My investment withdrawal rights were crystal clear in the operating agreement I'd insisted on 3 years earlier. As a minority owner with 15% equity, I could demand full technical and financial audit if management decisions threatened company security. The $45,000 I'd invested in Series A funding came with specific protective clauses that Sabrina had agreed to when she needed capital. Within 48 hours, reality began hitting Sabrina's perfectly planned transition. Talia's first attempt to deploy code changes crashed the entire production platform. The authentication system I designed required multi-factor approval for major modifications, a security measure implemented after a near breach 2 years prior. Every client-facing service went down for 6 hours while Talia scrambled to understand systems she'd never examined. My phone exploded with frantic messages. Sabrina left 17 voicemails, each more desperate than the last. "We need to discuss repository access immediately. This isn't a game. The entire platform is at stake." My Aunt Monica, Talia's biggest supporter, left breathless messages begging me to fix the technical crisis that was destroying client confidence. But I was just getting started. The formal security audit I had initiated revealed that Talia had been systematically compromising our protective protocols for months. Insecure APIs exposing patient data, misconfigured cloud storage violating HIPAA compliance, offshore development teams with production access that violated every security best practice I'd established. Jared, our lead security engineer, reached out through encrypted channels. "Your cousin has been creating vulnerabilities faster than I could fix them," he revealed during our clandestine meeting. "Sabrina's been covering it up, approving changes that put client data at risk. I've been documenting everything because I can't lose my professional certifications over this disaster." The evidence was damning. Months of security violations with Talia's digital fingerprints and Sabrina's explicit approval. Patient data from healthcare clients exposed through inadequately secured systems. False security assessments hiding critical vulnerabilities. Even worse, Talia had granted an external marketing agency access to production environments containing sensitive customer information. Dr. Hassan's response to my technical assessment was swift and decisive. "This level of security compromise is unacceptable for healthcare data," he stated during our conference call. "We're immediately suspending all contracts pending a comprehensive third-party security audit. I'll be recommending similar actions to other hospital networks in our consortium." The compound effects accelerated beyond my projections. Within 1 week, 3 major clients representing $4 million in annual contracts had suspended services. The code repositories remained frozen, pending intellectual property review. Talia's attempts to migrate systems to new repositories had failed due to the multi-factor authentication requirements I'd implemented. Sabrina's desperation reached new heights when she filed a lawsuit claiming I had sabotaged the company and illegally restricted access to vital systems. Her attorneys alleged corporate espionage and demanded immediate restoration of full technical access. What they didn't anticipate was the discovery process that would expose every security violation they'd been hiding. My attorney's response was methodical and devastating. "They've essentially sued us for enforcing the security protocols that protect client data," Richardson explained. "Every piece of evidence we'll present demonstrates that your actions prevented potential data breaches that could have triggered federal investigations." The preliminary court hearing lasted less than 2 hours. Judge Brennan reviewed the technical evidence, the operating agreement clauses, and the documented security violations. The plaintiff's actions appeared to constitute reckless endangerment of sensitive data, she concluded. The defendant's protective measures were not only justified, but professionally mandated. Sabrina's lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. The court mandated an immediate comprehensive security audit of all systems and client data. Talia had disappeared to California the night before the hearing, abandoning the technical disaster she'd created while avoiding legal accountability for the security breaches. The regulatory investigations followed swiftly. HIPAA violations triggered Department of Health and Human Services review. The FTC opened inquiries into data protection practices. Professional cybersecurity certification boards began examining the company's compliance failures. Every shortcut Sabrina and Talia had taken to maximize short-term profits was now under federal scrutiny. The final client exodus was swift and comprehensive. When healthcare systems lose trust in cybersecurity providers, word spreads rapidly through professional networks. The Portland office closed within 30 days. The Seattle headquarters downsized from 3 floors to a single suite as contracts were terminated and staff departed for competitors. 2 months later, Sabrina called with the desperation I'd anticipated. "Talia completely abandoned ship and disappeared to Silicon Valley," she admitted. "We were wrong about everything. We need your help to rebuild the platform." Her voice carried the exhaustion of someone watching 8 years of work collapse due to strategic incompetence. "I'm sorry, Sabrina," I replied calmly. "That chapter of my life is closed." "We have nothing left," she pleaded. "We were wrong about you, wrong about Talia. We can start over, rebuild together the right way." "You made your choice," I responded. "Now you live with the consequences." My new cybersecurity consultancy in Vancouver was already generating $320,000 in annual contracts within 4 months of launch. I'd recruited 2 of the best engineers from the Seattle team and established relationships with healthcare networks seeking reliable security partners. No family drama, no nepotism, just technical excellence and professional integrity. The final accounting was comprehensive. Sabrina's company lost $5 million in contracts, faced $180,000 in regulatory fines, and ceased operations within 8 months. Talia never returned from California, avoiding responsibility while her LinkedIn profile claimed credit for scaling innovative cybersecurity solutions. 6 months later, I received one final call from Sabrina. "You can't just abandon your family," she said, her voice breaking slightly. I nearly laughed at the irony. The same person who called me just a sponsor, now demanding family loyalty. "Everything you've done for me, Sabrina? I worked 8 years building your company while you handed everything to Talia on a silver platter. I'm done." I blocked her number and never looked back. After all, she taught me the most valuable lesson of all. In business, loyalty is only as strong as the contract backing it up. And when family treats you like a disposable resource, professional boundaries become personal survival. Today, my consultancy thrives on the foundation of technical competence and strategic thinking that Sabrina and Talia never understood. They wanted a sponsor. I became their most expensive business lesson instead.